2008 Ford Expedition. This is the four-wheel drive. It's a 5.4 liter V8. I just purchased this thing not too long ago. It's a great car. I love it. I'm glad to be back into a big old SUV, you know, that or a truck. So I really love this thing. However, today we're just going to do a little review about the car, look at some of the aspects of the car, and then we're also going to be going over the things to look for when you're actually in the market for buying this specific vehicle. And I'm going to give you some ideas of what consumers have thought about this car themselves. We'll give it a drive, and I'll also give you my personal take on what I feel and think about this car, and the things I like about it and the things I don't, and then we'll finish it off. Alright, so starting by looking at the front of the car here. We're looking at the hood, looking at the grille, looking at the lights, seeing everything's matched up here in front. This one, however, it did run into a deer, so you can see there's a crack on the bumper there, and the grille, and the Ford symbol there. It's a little worn out over the years. It usually has a blue color around that Ford sign. But looking at the lenses, they're not too fogged up or anything, which is not a big deal, hard thing to fix. We'll look down at the tires. Just looking at the condition of the tires, these aren't cracked or anything, these are pretty new. Looking inside the wheel wells, and of course you're going to want to look at all four tires and inside all four wheel wells, and the reason is you're looking for leaks or any bushing cracks and things like that that could be of expense. And then we'll also kind of just look down the panels here, and we're actually looking to see if there's any dents, any dings, if there's any discoloration in the paint, if there's any fading in one door from, you know, the next. It'll change if there's been some body work to it, and you can see that in the quality of the paint. Everything there seems to match. Just looking at the tires there, inside this wheel well down in here, kind of looking under it. You can see the spare tire. See, everything back here looks pretty darn dry, which is definitely a good sign. This is four-wheel drive, so you want to look at that rear axle there and see that there's no seal leaks or anything like that. And again, we'll just catch it from this angle. We'll look at the whole paint, kind of compare the paint from one side of the vehicle to the other side, and of course that's what we're doing here. You can see this is the Expedition XLT, and what I mentioned to you about that Ford symbol in the front, that's how it should look. Alright, we're just looking around the car here. See, it has a tow hitch. This vehicle is good to tow up to 9,000 pounds, which is a pretty good amount of towing capacity. And of course, you got your roof racks on top. Look at the quality of the paint up there. See if there's any fading or anything like that. Of course, on this one, there's not. And again, we're just looking at the body panels. Everything seems to match from one side of the body to the next. And of course, we'll look at the wheels here and inside the wheel well. You can see everything's pretty much intact. Everything looks good from here on the outside. We'll just take a peek in here, see if there's any leaks or anything like that of the sorts. But of course, there's nothing. Everything looks really solid. And we can see this car is a pretty clean car. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look on the interior. Alright, so taking a look on the interior now. What we're gonna do here is we're actually just gonna compare the interior to the exterior, see that it matches. And of course, I do want to let you know this car does have 262,000 miles plus. So it's gonna have a little bit of wear on it. Anyways, we can see that right off the bat, you got cup holders down here, space for papers. You have change spot up here. You got controls for all your windows. And your mirrors, of course, a little wear from the metal coming off here, no big deal. We do have a small tear here in the seat. It's got some stains on it from years of use. Got a little wear right there on the center console, which is normal, of course, especially for a vehicle of this mileage. And I do want to mention that this front seat here is the only one with power, forward and rear. And the passenger seat does not have that power option. And of course, just getting up in here to the car, we can see got the gauges here, course, all the dials here for your air conditioning, transmission, shifter. You got a lot of space here for cups. Some more space holder up here. Some cup holders back here. And actually inside this center console, it's pretty big. Got a space for change and a lot of space down here, you know. Shove your whole arm down there. Let's take a look here in the back. Alright, we've got our window control back here. Some more space for papers, everything else like that. And we do have a row of, this is the bench seats, 3 seats right here. Then you have a place for papers to hold stuff here, also as well on that side. And then you have controls for the air conditioning. You can actually control the volume for whatever you may be listening to. You can hook up your own headphones, things like that. I also want to note a cool feature about this car is that actually when you have your phone plugged in to the car, even when it's not running, it will actually still charge, which is a cool feature. So the car doesn't have to be running and you can still charge your electronics. Also, these seats do go down. I'm gonna pull this down. All these seats go down and creates quite a bit of space actually back here, which is really nice. And then that one will fold there. Also, you have your next row of seats back here, which is nice. So there's actually 3 rows of seats, and you'll see how this just folds up like that. And you got a whole another row of seats back there. And those fold up. And then also that headrest, that will fold up as well. Take a look back here in the trunk. Got a lot of space back here, of course, especially when you got these seats back, simple like that. You just push it back down. And then you have all this space back here. And I fit 2 10-foot kayaks inside of this, inside the vehicle, not on top of it, but inside. And it, you know, I had another person in here, 3 dogs, and still had room for more people and more stuff. So it's a great vehicle to go camping with, carry a bunch of stuff, things like that. Also very nice, you got cup holders back here for these seats when they're pulled up. Also another cup holder there, other space for putting your stuff. You got a cool little compartment here for whatever it may be you want to put into it. This, you got the jump starter cables. Then you got space back here. Got a lot of stuff in there, hay and stuff. We'll go take a look on this side of the vehicle. Got some more space. This thing is just spacious, and more space. So we got these. And there is quite a bit of space back here, and these, you could actually take out these 3 seats here, which is another cool feature if you wanted to create more room. And then we'll take a look on this side. Of course, we got more space for a cup holder, more space for papers, or more junk. Seats, of course, got a little bit of wear on them, no big deal. Everything so far, though, just very clean with this car overall, except for, you could see right there, windshield is cracked a bit up there on top, so this thing's going to have to be replaced. It should cost probably about 150 bucks to get that taken care of. And then the only thing I don't really like about it too much is you got such a small glove compartment right here, which barely can fit this tiny little thing here inside of it. So there's really not much room in there, but again, you have space everywhere else to keep your stuff. So let's go ahead and take a look now under the hood. Right, so let's just go ahead and pull up the hood here. It's got a strange little latch for it, but the cool thing is it's got hood shocks, so you don't have to put up one of the little things to hold the hood open or anything like that. And again, this has 262,000 miles, so we're going to be mainly focusing on looking for rust. We're going to be looking to see if there's really any oil leaks, fresh oil around the engine, any of the seals, looking at the belts. Everything's quite dirty. I have not cleaned it up yet. That's not really a fresh leak or anything, as we can see if you look at it. It's pretty dry, so that's not of any importance. Looking around the oil there, and let's see. Yep, still very dry, just very extremely dry. Looking at the battery, we can see it's 12-16, so this is the new battery. Kind of hard to see down there, but you got your engine fan and everything like that kind of just buried down in there. Such a big motor, this 5.4 liter pushing out 300 horsepower. It's a Triton motor. Very good motors. These things last hundreds of thousands of miles. Of course, this one's got 262 on it, so it's going to continue going. Just kind of looking down in there. Kind of hard to see with the light, but everything is actually pretty much where it should be. Of course, this is just wear and tear, the heat causing this thing to wear out, not a big deal. But as you can see, everything is extremely dry, and that's what you're looking for, making sure mostly everything's dry. And another way to check is we'll go take a look underneath just to see if there's any oil leaking from the bottom here, and just kind of look up in there. Everything's really dry, even down here, just by the wheels, looking at everything, you can see everything is extremely dry, and that's definitely what you want to see. And so we'll go ahead and give her a drive right now and let you know more about how it drives. All right, so we looked at the exterior, looked at the interior, looked under the hood, and everything looks really good, especially for the miles. Like I say, it's got 262,000 miles, which is a lot, but for this kind of vehicle, it's not even an issue. I mean, these things go quite some distance. And comparing that exterior, what we saw, to the interior that you saw, everything looks really good, especially for how many miles it's got on it. And again, it's a 2008, so you know, you can kind of expect those things. And now we're going to give it a drive, and I'm going to kind of explain how I feel the drive is. And also I want to mention to you that doing a lot of consumer reviews and going over hundreds of reviews of what other people had to say about these cars, they're all rated from a 4.7 to a 4.9 or even 5.0, 5 stars out of 5, you know. And people say just great things about them. I mean, I haven't really found any real issues with these cars. Some people just say, you know, the gas mileage is the worst thing. So the gas mileage that I've noticed, I'm getting anywhere between 13.5 up to 16.5 miles a gallon. So, you know, that's the only downside to this vehicle. However, there's been very few reviews of people saying about transmission problems and things like that, which Ford used to be known for. So thank God they've kind of, you know, worked that problem out with this year in this vehicle, and it's just a great vehicle. So we'll go ahead and get started here and get driving this thing. I also want to mention to you that when you're looking to buy a vehicle like this, you want to start it up and stop it a couple times. I would do that at least 5 times and just get a feel if it's having a problem starting or anything like that. If you look up here, actually, we have the controls for the 2-wheel drive, and then we got the 2-wheel drive high, and then we got the 4-wheel drive high and low. So very easy to control. You just turn it over, you're in 4-wheel drive. Let's get going here. All right. So instantly, the first thing you notice when you get this thing going and hit the gas is you could feel the weight of the vehicle. And it's a very heavy vehicle, it feels definitely really sturdy though. I mean, this thing feels like it's planted on the ground. The steering wheel is a lot bigger than what I've been used to before. This is actually my first American purchased vehicle, so yes, God bless America. This thing is a great piece of work, and I mean, it just drives great. You know, you want to take your hands off the steering wheel, maybe not too long, but this thing drives perfectly straight. So obviously this thing doesn't have any issues with the alignment. And then kind of feeling the brakes here. The brakes are definitely really easy. Yeah. Very smooth. Very, very smooth transmission. I love the feel of that. And we'll just get it going up here on the road and give it a little gas, see how it feels, giving it some gas. And we'll give it a little bit of brake when we have the chance here. Get a little better feel for the brakes. But what I'm kind of feeling for is the sturdiness of the vehicle while we're driving. So let's give it a little gas here. Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah, when you punch it, it definitely is a little slow. Again, you got such a big vehicle. It's not made for power. It's made for hauling and towing, and it is very good for that. This thing's towed a lot of stuff in its life, so it's definitely proven as a good vehicle for towing and things like that. I'm just gonna hit the brakes here a little bit. Oh yeah. You could feel when you hit the brakes, it does have all-wheel ABS, or four-wheel ABS, so you can kind of feel it, even not slamming on the brakes, but hitting the brakes pretty good right there. You can kind of feel it once the ABS wants to kick in. Yeah, but it's definitely just a very sturdy drive, very solid vehicle with lots of weight, as I've mentioned, of course, and that's a great thing for a vehicle like this. You know, being in a city where I live, there's a lot of smaller vehicles and things like that, so it's nice to be a little higher off the ground as compared to being in a two-door or four-door vehicle. I just really love the way this thing drives. It feels really, really solid. And after you know, owning this thing for about a month or so, I've got a good feel of how it drives and everything like that. It does have a problem up in the front wheel well. It has it needs a new control arm, which is not that expensive for these vehicles. This one in particular is just, I mean, I've never owned a vehicle with this many miles on it, and I do have to say, for being the first Ford and American vehicle that I've actually owned, I'm going to continue buying these cars because there's something about them that is just very special. And so even after doing a little drive here and everything, I just love the sturdiness of this car. I think this car is definitely going to continue going over 300,000 miles for sure. I think the thing that I like about it most is the fact that it has so much room, and if I want to go camping or put up a blow-up mattress or anything like that in the back, I'll definitely easily be able to do that and still fit all my stuff in here for a couple-day camp trip if I want to sleep in the car or whatnot. Very easily, you could fit a couple people here in the back with the seats down, throw in a blow-up mattress, and you're set to go. But I want to leave it at that for right now. I'll make another video on this vehicle actually in the near future here, but I'll leave it at that for today. And again, just with driving it and taking a look at it and comparing it to what others have said about this vehicle as owners themselves, you know, hands down, I'd buy this 10 times over again, and I'd give it a 5 stars myself. So thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned, and again, I'm the Daily Driver, and I'll bring some more videos to you soon.